What's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today I have to talk to you guys about Demonology Warlock nerfs. So I woke up a few hours ago and checked Discord, and somebody mentioned that there were some Demonology nerfs that came out 4 minutes ago, and unfortunately today, demonic consumption has been nerfed by... They nerfed the actual health siphon from your pets from 15 to 12%, which might not seem like a whole lot, but seeing as how the spec is built around siphoning health from your pets and all that kind of stuff, it actually makes a bit of a difference. So today we're going to talk a little bit about why it happened, why I'm not a huge fan of the nerf, and putting aside, oh yeah, Demo's 2 OP memes, all that kind of stuff, and then look at a bunch of sims, comparing Wilfrids, comparing Grim Inquisitors, single target AoE, and go from there, and just tell you how the spec is currently sitting, or will be sitting, going into, well, next week. Now, I did not stream today. However, if you guys want to talk about these nerfs on stream, or hang out, or grab any weak ores, or add-ons, or anything you see here, or ask any general questions, link down below. If you want to swing by the stream, hang out anytime, feel free to do so. Also, I want to give one huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you a million times, guys, for all support. Before we get too far into the video, if you're interested in supporting, there should be a link somewhere up here, as well as down in the video description below. So, with that being said, let's get into it, starting off with a brief discussion on why we got nerfed, and then we can get into the sims. Alrighty, so now as you can see, I have a lot of sims at the top of my screen here. I forgot what half of them actually are. We're going to look at them and just, cross that bridge when we get to it and go from there. However, before we get into it, so these are the actual nerfs today. There were some changes to Mage, so Fire was buffed, unsurprisingly. There we go. So Warlock was changed. Demonic consumption now causes your demonic commander, your tyrant, to drain 12% of the life from your demons, was 15%. Now, this might not seem like a massive nerf. I don't even know what I was doing here in game. Okay, yeah. But when demonic consumption is like 27 to 30% of your damage, depending on crit chance, it actually ends up being a decent nerf. Around, spoilers ahead, are about 4.5%. But the thing is, like, listen, I'm not gonna make it some, don't nerf Warlock video. Obviously, Demo's very good in the raid, right? Obviously, in the race world first, Demonology was probably the most impressive spec, maybe outside of Enhancement Shaman. But the thing is, like, I feel like someone's gonna go crazy in the comments about this. But the thing is, like, so Demonology is the best power infusion spec in the game, hands down. Now, I can rant for hours about power infusion and how bad it is for the game. Not even priests like power infusion because they have to give it away every time. But so I figure I just pull up logs, right? So going through the top 100 logs here, how many non-external parses are there? Let's see, for demo logs. Well, that's page 1. Okay, there's none there. Let's go to page 2. Maybe we'll get lucky there. Page 2. Let's keep going. Okay. Nothing here. Oh, we got one there at 15k. It's only 3k lower than the highest, PI sim. Let's keep going. We got one in the top 200. There's one there. There's 2. There's 3. There's 4. There's 5. There's 6. There's 6 non-external parses within the top 300 overall parses for Demonology on Mythic Skolex. You can keep going, and it really doesn't get any better. Demonology is the best power infusion spec in the game, and it's not even close. The unfortunate part and the real part, though, is that Demonology is not anywhere near as good as it may seem in a Race to World First setting, in a high-end guild setting, in a non-power infusion setting. And you can see here, like, the highest one, I believe, is this at 15k. But the highest non-power infusion sim, like the highest sim, 15k. Where's the second highest one? Let's see here. We're sitting at, they're both 15k basically, right? 15k, 15k, and then we have the third one being 14.9. The highest sim, I believe, is like 17 something, right? The thing is, yeah, it's 17.6, so 2.5, almost 3k DPS less, right? Demonology scales a crazy amount with power infusion. It does. But that's not really Demonology's fault. That's just a poor... I don't want to use the word poor design. It's like I'm bashing the games. I'm not. But, like, that's just a subpar design with power infusion being a thing in the game in general. Power infusion has been called upon to be removed since literal alpha of Shadowlands. Because if you're a priest, you don't want to give away your power infusion, which you probably do, unless you're playing Shadow, and everybody else fights over it. And in the end, I think power infusion is a great progression tool. You can allocate PI to certain parts of a fight where you want that class to have a burst profile and more damage, but it makes farm and parsing actually miserable. There has not been an expansion where I've cared less about parsing than Shadowlands, because I'm not getting, 7 power infusions and 5 kindred affinities and 4 fairies. I'm not getting those, right? I'm getting them now in Prog. Will I get them in farm? No chance, right? So Demonology scales a crazy amount with PI. But if you remove the PI, Demonology actually isn't even like that incredible. It's fine. It's okay. But I mean, like,
You can even look at other classes here, like Mage. How many PIs do they have in their top logs? They got a few. They got a few externals here and there, right? You know, got a few, but look at their highest non-external log, 16K. What's ours? 15K. Let's look at rogues. I don't even rogues. All their non-externals, 15.4. Once again, our highest non-external, 15K. Let's go here. Let's go, I don't know, let's say Priest. Why not? Sure, Priest, yeah. Their highest one, 16K. What's ours? 15K. Let's go Hunter. What are they at? Let's see here. Well, they suck. So that's fine, but but you get what I'm saying, right? I'm half memeing, but I'm half serious. Demonology loses a lot of ground when you don't have power infusion. It's still a good single target spec, but it's nowhere near as strong as what it appears currently in current rankings, with it being so excessive. You're seeing these rankings in these statistics here because of power infusion. This is what's carrying this. It really, truly is. But, you know, hey, then again, like, having all 3 specs in the top 4. Okay, no. AF is being carried by Pantheon, FYI. But either way, so the problem is that Blizzard's not going to change power infusion this expansion. They're not going to. They mentioned in 9.1, it's a community issue, which means they don't care. So, or they're not willing to make those changes mid-expansion, which is fair, but it's if they want the community to govern power infusion, yeah, have you seen it's not going to happen. So, my hope is that in 10.0, power infusion is removed from the game. I can go back to caring about parsing and having fun again. But regardless, yeah, so a lot of this is propped up by PI. Without it, Demonology is still good, but nowhere near as good as you're saying. You're not gapping the rest of your raid like you are with PI. So, but with that being said, let's take a bit of a look at some sims here. So here, these are all with my current character. I'm not running the default BIS overall profile. This is just my character right now. I have 4-piece. I'm playing Dreadlash. I'm playing FTS. I'm playing the normal decon build with a Ruby, with an Ooze, and yeah, we're pretty much just going from there. I'll have links to the sims down below as well if you want to look at them. So these are the pre-nerf. This is my pre-nerf demo sim in single target, right? Look at decon about 25%, 24.7. This is the post-nerf sim, 15.2 to 14.6. So you're losing about, I'm losing about, what? I mean, 650-ish DPS roughly. It ends up being around a 4.3-ish% nerf without power infusion to our overall damage. You can see decon being 25 here, pre-nerf, post-nerf about 21.4. Now, decon is still a large portion of our damage. You see Dreadstalkers come up a bit comparatively, just, you know, because, hey, they're still doing the same damage roughly, right? But it's about a 4.3% nerf to our overall single target. Now, it's also important to keep in mind that this APL in these sims here, these are not with the 11 imp or 12 imp APL that you can run playing Demonology with your 4-piece. This is with, I think, 9 imps. We can see roughly here. Where's the Tyrant at? It's Tyranting with 9 imps here. A Malicious Imp. I believe second Tyrant's like, I think like 6. Let me see. Okay, it has 9 in here, but it's not the maximum number of imps. You can get 11 or 12 in depending on lust and power infusions and things like that. So keep that in mind. Once again, these sims still might be a bit lower than where you're actually at Demonology wise, but yeah. So once again, I don't know all these sims are. We're going to just go through it and figure it out. So once again, 4.3% loss roughly, 15.224 to 14.6 essentially, right, rounding. So the next question that I had, does it change the FTS versus Vile Fiend talent choice when you get your 4-piece? Because when you get your 4-piece, you take FTS or Vile Fiend, because FTS, the 4-piece, when the Malicious Imps expire, they either do, if you implode them, they have the Spite mechanic, which is like, you know, AoE Shadow Flame damage, right? But if they die, they cast their Doom, I think Doom Bolt maybe, but it's Shadow Flame damage, which adds more value to FTS, which means, hey, 4-piece makes FTS better than Vile Fiend. My fear was that with decon being nerfed and your Tyrant's Demon Fire damage being affected by FTS, that the nerf might make Vile Fiend a bit better. Well, thankfully, FTS is still better by about the same margin. So here is pre-nerf 15.2k roughly. You can see the same about here, give or take a bit of disparity. And then here is post-nerf 14.589. Once again, still favoring FTS. So all is good there. Still playing FTS, not playing Vile Fiend. And also, FTS has a bunch of, you know, AoE, universal applicability. Solid. That's good to see. So the next question I had then, what is better? Is Wilfred still better than Grim Inquisitors? Because Wilfred's, I mean, they both like lose some value with decon nerfs. Grim Inquisitors, I mean, they both lose a little bit of value, right? But the question is, like, Wilfred gives you a shorter Tyrant because decon is more relevant.
which one's better? So here are pre-nerf sims, 15.2. And once again, there's going to be a bit of disparity, a 15% deep or 15 DPS margin of error here, roughly within that same region. It's fine. So pre-nerf, Grimm's behind by about 1,000 DPS. We're looking at about 6.5. Here's post-nerf. It's behind about 800 DPS, so about 5.5. Now, I will say, there's probably a bit of things you can do. This is also always playing the Dreadlesh FTS build. This build here is playing Grimoire Felguard. But if you factor in Soul Conduit, that build is better than Felguard build. However, I will say, Wilfred's is still best in the Sims, from what I've seen. The big thing is that, here's the updated, like, post-nerf Wilfred's Grim SC Sim. The big thing is that Grim SC has closed the gap a bit, and there might be a little bit of, like, wiggle room you can get, a little bit more value with Grim Inquisitors, because you're playing that weird minute-and-a-half Tyrant build, but what trinket do you play? A Ruby? A Cube? I don't want to play a Cube, but Cube does theoretically work out pretty well with this build, right? Whether you're playing Grim or SC, every other Tyrant's a big one with Grim, right? So there's a bit of, like, maybe a little bit of a DPS gain you can find here playing Grim SC, but Wilfred's does indeed still appear to be the best, like, overall single target legendary for Demonology post nerf. But if you factor in a second target, Grim Inquisitors gets a lot better. That's just stacked triple dog 2 target cleave. It's very, very good. So moving on, here are some PI sims. Now I believe these are pre-nerf sims, okay? Because the question also is, how does Demonology scale with power infusion, right? After the nerf and everything else, right? So similar to the last one we saw, Grim SC, this is like Grim Inquisitors, Grimoire Felguard, Grim Inquisitors, Soul Conduit, and Wilfred's. And PI means power infusion, obviously, right? So, power infusion build 16.839. These are pre-nerf, right? You can tell pre and post-nerf by the DPS loss, right? So 16.839, the actual DPS disparity being about 9% and 10.3 between them. Here is post-nerf, being about 7.4 and 9.1 DPS disparity-wise. So with PI, we lose roughly about 750 DPS. In my personal sims with my own character, it's about a 4.6% DPS loss when you factor in power infusion. But it still indeed does favor the Wilfred's build. Unsurprisingly, PI is still very good there. Now, I will say with this build, this is a minute-and-a-half Tyrant. So you get 3 power infusions with this build playing PI in Wilfred because you're in a Tyrant, right? When it comes to the Grim SC build, I only actually have 2 power infusions in this build right here in this sim compared to here, because if there are multiple priests in your raid that will rotate PI on you, that's great. You can get a PI for every Tyrant. But if there's only one, like what I have in raid right now, PI is a 2-minute cooldown. So this build, Wilfred's will Tyrant every minute. 0, 1, 2, 3, roughly, about every minute and 10 seconds. The problem here is that this build will Tyrant basically 10 seconds in, a minute 40, 310, 440, and about 620-ish, give or take. PI can cover the first Tyrant, right, at 11 seconds. But that 1 minute 40 Tyrant, still on cooldown if you have 1 priest, right? So you get the power infusion, the 310 Tyrant. And then to a similar extent, that 440 Tyrant could theoretically be covered by second priest, but the one that PI'd at 310 won't have PI until 510, which is also going to be, the 610 Tyrant, because they're holding it for a while. So it makes it very awkward here. Now, if you're getting like fairies and things, that might work out better, but hey, that's getting into extreme outlier external territory. So a bit of wiggle room here, possibly as well with Grim and PIs and trinkets and all that stuff. But Wilfred's, without getting super in-depth, does indeed still appear to be the best legendary and the best build overall. And all these sims, whether we are playing Night Fae, I'm not doing any weird Knife Warlord shenanigans here. It's all Night Fae stuff. All Night Fae. So, okay, man, this is a little disheartening, I feel like. So this sim here, as you can see, the raw DPS, 1,185. I did play a cube here, I believe, over a Ruby, and gained about 100 DPS also with PI. Once again, it's a bit of give and take. You can tinker with it if you want, but I don't think you're going to find that extra 1k DPS. So, actually, here's the cube sim. I'm sorry. So here's the cube sim. Yeah.
I swapped the cube here for everything. So we have cube with Wilfred's PI 1 minute build versus Grim Inquisitors here. And you can sort of compare them, right? You can sort of see like, all right, so here's like all Ruby build, 16-1, all cube build. So you can see the actual Wilfred's PI build with Ruby loses value when you're playing cube. It loses about 200 DPS, right? But the Grim builds with Ruby right here are at 15-3, 15-5, whatever. Sorry, here. There we go. Yeah. There's so many sims. 14-9, you jump to 15-1 because of that better alignment of cube with your power infusions with larger tyrants. So, like I said, there's some wiggle room you can sort of get there, but I do still feel that even trying to min-max it a little bit here, the PI build or the Wilfred's build with PI is still a little better. Plus that 1 minute damage profile is just really, really relevant in raiding. So, moving on. People are going to ask, how does Demonology stack up compared to Destruction? Because Destro got buffed by 5%, right? Yes and no. Now, the video tonight was supposed to be about Destro changes. I had that video filmed and ready to go, but I'm going to push that back until tomorrow. So if you want to see that, check back tomorrow. These Destro parses or sims here, whatever you want to call them, are post-buff, but with the fix implemented, which nerfed the sim. There is something broken in the Destro sims, which I thought there was for a long time, because Destro sims, like, they look really good coming out of 9.2 PTR, but nobody could replicate the damage on PTR. Not me, not THG, nobody could. There's a big issue with them. It's been corrected. The sims are accurate here and reflect that. We'll talk about it a bit tomorrow in the next video, but comparing the nerf version of Demo to Eradication, Madness, Soul Conduit, Necrolord, Destro, you're sitting at 15k here. But the problem also is who wants to play Necrolord Destro, right? So this is Night Fae. These are all Night Fae unless it indicates Necrolord, right? So here's Night Fae Destro. But even that being the case, like we can like 14-6 here for Demo Wilfred's, right? We can go back and compare it to like way at the start here. That's basically where we're sitting, 14-6, right? So we have 14-6 here, Eradication, Madness, Soul Conduit stuff, playing Night Fae. They're almost one and the same, right? Now, once again, Demo brings a better damage profile on a minute with Wilfred's, and, you know, also a stack cleave profile with Grim Inquisitors and all that, right? But that's sort of spicy. And Eradication, Madness, Soul Conduit, Necrolord build is ahead by 400-ish DPS. I'm going to be honest, that sort of hurts a little bit. But also keep in mind, one more time, this is not with the optimal 11 or 12 imp APL for Demonology. This is the 9 imp, so Demo probably is a little better than this than what it's showing here. However, if you factor in power infusion, Demonology is still on top by about 100 DPS over the Eradication Madness build, and this also just shows how strong power infusion is for Demo comparatively to other specs, right? Because PI is not terrible for Destro either, right? This is not saying, oh, this one sim gets PI and these don't. Like, these are all getting PI, right? So it's just that much better. Even factoring in the 400 DPS like extra it has on Madness here, it's just that much stronger. It gains 500 more DPS over what Eradication Madness SC does, while also getting power infusion. And I also went in here and changed the timings in these to be a bit better for Destro. So there's a bit of give and take there. Just once again, Infernal timings are a bit awkward and things, but PI is still really strong for Demo, and for the third time, this is not the 11 or 12 imp APL for Demonology. This is the 9 imp, or 6 imp at times. So, it's pretty interesting. Yeah. If you want to see four target sims here briefly also, Wilfred, so like, these sims are sort of toss-up, right? Like, you've got Grim SC, Wilfred's Grim here, 4 target, 40 seconds. Now, I prefer Grim Inquisitors and Soul Conduit, I think mostly in Mythic Plus. It gives a more consistent overall profile, I feel. In a 4 target, 40 second sim, the Grim Inquisitors Grimoire Felguard sim, which is this, will be higher. Because naturally, you're getting a Grimoire Felguard in there with your Tyrant. So extension, decon value, extra cleave, but this build smooths out over the course of a run in heavy AoE. At the same time, the difference between 50k and 54k is not as big as, you know, 4k and 8k. So you're doing a lot of damage regardless. But so here's the Wilfred's build. This is also pre-nerf, right? 54k, 5149. Here's post-nerf. So not a whole lot really changes here as far as like relevancy goes. The actual like DPS percent favors Grim still, a little bit more, 5.1 to 5.6. Sort of makes sense because Wilford's was nerfed a bit, theoretically through, decon nerfs, but about the same still. Grim is still good in Mythic Plus, still very good in AoE. Soul Conduit for more smoothing. Grim more Felguard for more single target if you want. And yeah, that's basically that. So the demo nerfs, they hurt, but I don't think it's the end of the world. I do think that a better solution would just be to remove power infusion from the game, but that's obviously not going to happen. They're not going to step in and say, oh yeah, that's true, power infusion is the real cause of this, we're going to take it out of the game right now. It's not going to happen. They're not going to remove PI in the middle of an expansion, right? Now, at 10.0 comes around, that could possibly be a thing. Then again, I think this would be the third expansion. We have Demonology in this form, so I think Demo's slated for a rework anyways, because, yeah, every 2 expansions, Demo gets a rework. Memes aside, we'll see. Oh, but yeah, about a 4.3% nerf in single target without PI, 4.6-ish in single target with PI. We'll see where it goes. I think Demonology is still good, and I think Demonology is still most likely, from what I've seen, the best PI target in game. But we'll see where that goes, because Fire Mage also got buffed today, and I have not seen updated PI sims and things for them comparatively to Demo. But we'll see. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Now, first off, my apologies if I sound a bit short in this video or a bit like just tired or scatterbrained. I am really tired from the Race World first. I think I might be getting a little sick. I don't know. I've been all over the place today. So yeah, sorry that I didn't stream the live sims, but we'll be talking about it next stream. And yeah, hopefully the sky won't be falling too much until I get back. So I don't think Demonology really, I don't think Demo needed the nerf. Like I said, if power fusion is not a thing, but PI is a thing, it's the world we live in, and like I said, it's much easier. The best solution for Blizzard to address the Demonology problem is to probably nerf Decon, not nerf the 2-piece, not nerf the 4-piece, not Aura nerf the spec, just nerf Decon, and deal with power infusion in 10.0 if need be. If you guys didn't watch all the sims, about a 4.4% loss roughly in single target, 4.6-ish for me with power infusion, but PI still does scale very well. Demos looks pretty good, I'd say, for the remainder of 10.0, as long as we don't get nerfed anymore. But you won't see your Demo locks utterly gapping the raid, getting power infusions like like they were during the Race to World first. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Any questions, drop them down below in the comment section, or swing by Twitch, link down below if you want to hang out and ask any questions, watch the stream, chill anytime. Week wars and add-ons and profiles are also there for you guys if you want them. And one more time, want to give one massive shout out to my patrons. Thank you guys for all support, really appreciate it. If you're interested in supporting, there should be a link somewhere up here and down in the video description below. And while you're down there in the video description, let me know what you guys think of these changes also. I'm a bit curious to get y'all's takes on them. Some might be hot takes. I know in the heated moment, it sucks getting nerfed, but I think, honestly, it is what it is. I didn't think Demo would get nerfed, but I also think we might have gotten off a bit easier than it maybe initially had appeared. Hearing a decon nerf scares everybody, but I think it'll be okay. I'm a bit concerned for Demonology players outside of, the power infusion end of the spectrum, but hey, just the world we live in, just the game that we designed. Onward to 10.0 in 2 weeks, and yeah, I guess we go from there. So thanks for watching, guys. If you're new to the channel and liked it, be sure to smash the sub button and hit the like button while you're down there as well. Much love, and I will catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.